I tried scalping for 6 months, 200 trades a month, sometimes 300. 4-hour sessions where I'd take 30, 40, 50 trades. Quick in, quick out. Hunting 5 pip moves, 10 pip moves. I thought I was learning a new strategy. I wasn't. I was destroying my nervous system. By month 3, my hands shook before I opened my platform. By month 5, I couldn't sleep. My brain wouldn't shut off. I'd close my eyes and see candlesticks. I'd dream about entries, wake up exhausted. And my account? Break even at best. More often slightly negative, not because I didn't understand the setups, but because scalping requires something most people don't have and can't develop, a specific type of mental endurance that goes against how human brains are wired. Today, I'm going to show you what actually happens in a scalper's mind, why it's one of the hardest styles to master, and why, if you can't do it, that's not a weakness, it's just biology, and how to make it workable. Let's begin. Let me start with what most people get wrong about scalping. They think it's about speed, about being quick, reacting fast, clicking buttons faster than the next guy. That's not it. Speed is trainable. Reaction time can be improved. What scalping actually requires is something much harder. I'm sure you've experienced this too. Sometimes during a scalp trade, your brain just freezes. You stare at the position. You literally can't think rationally anymore. You're just taking action. Your ability to think and question has weakened. We call this emotional flatness under repetitive decision-making. Let me explain. When you scalp, you're making 50 to 100 decisions in a 4-hour session. Every decision has money attached. Every click risks real capital. And here's the part that breaks people. 90% of those decisions feel exactly the same. Same setup, same entry, same risk. Over and over and over. Your brain is wired to find patterns and automate them. That's how humans survive. We recognize, we automate, we conserve energy. But in scalping, you can't fully automate because every trade, despite looking identical, has subtle differences. Market context, volume, speed of the move, momentum. You need to stay present for every single decision. Fully engaged, fully aware. While your brain is screaming at you to zone out, to go on autopilot. And the moment you do, you lose. You take a bad trade. You hold too long. You revenge trade. One mistake, and you've wiped out 10 good trades. Because this is work that's hard to sustain. Whether you resist or not, at some point your brain will put itself on autopilot to conserve energy. And you'll make decisions you shouldn't make. You just stare at the screen. Your energy is literally depleted, and you can't think as sharply as you did at the start of the session, and in a very short time. Because scalping really consumes quite a bit of energy. Meanwhile, while all this is happening, you still blame yourself for breaking your discipline, when in fact, you're attempting the impossible. When scalping this intensely, you can't expect every decision to be consistent and rational, because your brain will eventually beat you. There are things you can do to prevent your brain from beating you, from falling into the autopilot trap and making you take trades that break your discipline. We'll talk about those too. Let's continue. Here's what nobody tells you. Scalping isn't hard because of the strategy. Most scalping strategies are simple. Support and resistance bounces, breakout pullbacks, momentum continuation. The setups are basic. A beginner can learn them in a week. What's hard is the execution. Specifically, the mental load of executing the same simple decision 50 times without your brain deteriorating. This is almost impossible unless you're a robot. Let me give you a comparison. Swing trading is like running a marathon. It's endurance over time. But the pace is manageable. You make 5 decisions a week. You have time to think, time to breathe, time to recover between trades. Scalping is like doing a 100-meter sprint, then immediately doing another, then another, then another, for 4 hours straight. No rest, no recovery. Think of going back into a set at the gym without resting between sets. It's no different. Just decision after decision after decision. And every sprint matters. Miss one, and you're behind. Your brain isn't built for that. Most brains shut down after 20 decisions. They go into energy-saving mode. That's when mistakes happen. That's why we have to rest between sets or change our approach accordingly. Now let's continue with the part that makes scalping even harder. The emotional volatility. In swing trading, you take a trade and walk away. You check it once a day, maybe twice. The emotional load is spread over days. In scalping, you take a trade, and it's resolved in 2 minutes. Win or lose, you know immediately. Then you do it again. Then, again. That rapid feedback loop does something to your brain. Every win gives you a dopamine hit. Every loss creates a cortisol spike. You're riding an emotional roller coaster 50 times in 4 hours. Your nervous system can't handle that. Most people's can't. After 10 trades, you're emotionally exhausted. After 30, you're making decisions from a place of fatigue. And fatigue decisions are bad decisions. You start chasing. You start forcing. You start hoping. All the things that destroy accounts. You've definitely experienced something like this. At some point, things get out of control and you don't even know what you're doing. You stop thinking about why you're doing what. You can start losing on autopilot because your brain is exhausted. This is what's really happening. But you question yourself, blame yourself, when in fact, your expectations are unfortunately not realistic. It's very difficult to apply your approach consistently because it requires too much energy, and at some point your performance will drop and you're very likely to make mistakes. This is very predictable, so you need to adjust your trade frequency accordingly. You need to take regular breaks and rest your brain. You need to reset, to refill the energy. Otherwise, what you experienced in the past is bound to repeat itself. Let me tell you what happened to me in month 4. I was up $200 after 30 trades. Small wins, $5 here, $10 there, consistent. Then I took one bad trade, lost $50. Immediately my brain shifted. I wasn't calm anymore. I was reactive. I needed to get that 50 back. So I took another trade. It lost. Now I was down 80. I took another. Down 100. In 15 minutes, I wiped out 3 hours of careful work. Not because I didn't know the setups, but because my nervous system was fried. I'd made 40 decisions in 4 hours. I wasn't in a state to think. But I wanted to continue. My brain had nothing left, and in that depleted state, I made 5 terrible decisions in a row. This is what scalping does. It exposes the limits of your mental endurance in real time, and for most people, those limits are hit fast. After you reach the limits, you make bad decisions and question why you're not disciplined, not consistent. You think there's something wrong with you, when in fact, your approach to trading is what makes this situation inevitable. We're unaware of our mental endurance limits. We always assume we can do everything. We think we're robots, but we're not. We're flawed. If we can manage these flaws correctly, we can get what we want. But if we deny our nature and aim for impossible things and blame ourselves every time we fail, everything can get progressively worse. So if you're also taking this many and this frequent trades, please stop. What you're doing really doesn't make any sense at all. Beating the market is already hard. There's no point making it even harder. Don't do this cruelty to yourself. Reduce your trade frequency so you can make better decisions. Reduce your trade frequency so you can manage the trades you take better. This is really the essence of everything. We have limited mental energy, and we need to use it for the most correct trades. Here's the brutal truth. Scalping selects for a specific personality type, and most traders don't have it. The people who succeed at scalping have a few things in common. First, they have abnormally low emotional reactivity. A win doesn't excite them. A loss doesn't bother them. They're emotionally flat, and this doesn't change whether they win or lose for 5 trades. This is a very rare condition. Not because they train themselves to be, but because that's how they're wired. They're not reactive people. Second, they have high tolerance for repetition. Doing the same thing over and over doesn't bore them. It doesn't fatigue them. They can stay present through monotony. They don't get bored and aren't affected. Third, they have fast recovery from mistakes. They take a bad trade, and 30 seconds later, they're reset. No lingering frustration. No emotional hangover. Just immediate return to baseline. If you don't have these 3 traits naturally, scalping will destroy you. You can try to build them, but they're not skills, they're temperament. And temperament is mostly genetic, so even what kind of person you are tells a lot about what kind of trader you should be. Being a scalper who takes a few trades a day versus a scalper who takes 20 trades is really not the same thing. Anyone can do the former, but most people can't succeed at the latter. Because staying stable and making correct decisions throughout 20 trades in the same day is nearly impossible. Actually, the reality is simple. The more trades you take in a day, the more you're also accepting the chance of making mistakes. While we look at everything through the lens of potential profit, we don't think about these things. What matters is how much we'll make. Mental endurance doesn't even cross anyone's mind. But we can't deny our nature. By adapting to it, we can solve problems we've been struggling with for a long time in a short period. But first, we need to accept and face these problems. Let's abandon our dreams of 20 trades a day. You can take 20 trades a day and everything can go fine. This is very possible too. But how many days can you repeat this? Ask yourself that. Now let me show you why the strategy part of scalping is actually easy. Most scalpers use one or two setups. That's it. They're not trading 10 different patterns. They find one thing that works, and they execute it 100 times a day. The edge isn't in the setup, the edge is in the execution. Let's say you're scalping support bounces. The setup is simple. Price hits support. You see rejection. You enter. You target 5 pips. You risk 3 pips. Risk reward is bad. But your win rate is 70%. Over 100 trades, that's profitable. But here's the problem. To hit 70%, you need to take only the best bounces, not the mediocre ones, not the ones that kind of look right, only the perfect ones. And recognizing perfect versus good requires presence, full presence. For every single trade. After 20 trades, your brain wants to shortcut. It wants to say, close enough. And the moment you start taking close enough trades, your win rate drops to 50%. Now you're losing money, because your risk reward is bad and your win rate collapsed. This is why most people can't scalp. Not because they don't understand the setup, but because they can't maintain the mental precision required to execute it correctly 100 times. Being in front of the screen pushes you to take trades whether you want to or not. It's hard to do nothing. And because you've chosen to be a scalper, you have to watch the screen. Setting alarms and walking away isn't very realistic, so your screen time increases, and this will inevitably increase your chance of mistakes. Here's what I learned after I quit scalping. I didn't quit because I failed. I quit because I realized my brain isn't wired for it. And that's okay. I switched to day trading. 1 to 3 trades a day instead of 50. Suddenly, I could stay present. I could make good decisions. My win rate jumped. My account grew. Because I was working with my brain, not against it. Scalping isn't superior to other styles. It's just different. And it requires a specific mental makeup that most people don't have. The traders who succeed at scalping aren't better than you. They're just wired differently. And if you're not wired for it, forcing yourself to scalp is like forcing yourself to be left-handed when you're right-handed. Technically possible, but exhausting. And ultimately, not worth it. It takes a lot from you, but usually doesn't give back as much as it takes. We need to reduce our trade frequency. If we can't digest this, we can increase the risk we take. So take 2% risk instead of 1%. Give yourself the right to 1 to 5 trades a day instead of 10 or 20. Your decisions will be better, so you're very likely to be more profitable. Of course, if you won't feel comfortable psychologically, don't increase your risk, because managing it will become difficult again. Let's continue. Now here's the part that might surprise you. Some people can learn to scalp, but it takes time. A lot of time. I've met traders who spent 2 years building the mental endurance for scalping. They started with 10 trades a day, then 20, then 30, slowly increasing the load, training their nervous system to handle the repetition, the emotional swings, the decision fatigue. By year 2, they could do 50 trades without breaking down. But here's the thing. Those 2 years could have been spent mastering swing trading, or day trading, or position trading, styles that don't require you to rewire your nervous system. So the question isn't, can you learn to scalp? The question is, should you? Is it really worth it? Did you get into this to stare at a screen 8 hours a day for the rest of your life chasing 50 trades? And for most people, the answer is no. Not because you're not capable, but because the cost is too high. Scalping demands something from you that other styles don't. It demands that you operate at the edge of your cognitive capacity for hours at a time. And most brains can't do that sustainably. In fact, in my opinion, no one can and no one should. We're not robots, and we shouldn't try to be. We should take few and focused trades for our own health, for our life. Because we didn't get into this to become slaves to the charts. We need to remember this. During my learning phase, I watched charts 15 hours a day. But now I know I can't be profitable by staring at the screen 15 hours. I set my levels and set alarms. My strategy is clear. If an alarm goes off, I look for my setup. If I find it, I take it and wait for it to close. That's all there is to it. I realized I can achieve maximum profit with minimum screen time this way. It took me years to get here, but I can maintain consistency here because I don't have to stare at the screen 10 hours every day. I don't feel exhausted and mentally drained every day because I don't watch the screen enough to get that tired. Naturally, when a trade opportunity comes, I make the right decisions and manage my trades correctly. Because when that moment comes, I'm ready, I'm mentally clear, and I can think correctly. All of this is calculated. If you become addicted to charts, mental wear down becomes inevitable. This makes making bad decisions inevitable. That's all. It's not rocket science. It's quite clear. Let me give you the signs that scalping isn't for you. First, if you feel exhausted after 10 trades, scalping isn't your style. Your brain is telling you it's overloaded. Listen to it. Second, if you start making revenge trades after a loss, you don't have the emotional recovery speed needed. Scalpers reset instantly. If you can't, that's fine. Trade a different style. Third, if you feel bored during repetitive tasks, scalping will kill you. Scalping is the same trade 100 times. If that sounds like torture, don't do it. Fourth, if you need time to think through decisions, scalping will overwhelm you. It doesn't give you time to think. There's only action. Your decision quality dropping is inevitable. Scalpers decide in seconds. If you need minutes, you're built for swing trading. And that's not a weakness, it's just how you operate. Here's the framework. If you're considering scalping, test yourself. Take 20 trades in 2 hours, all the same setup. Track how you feel. If you feel energized, clear, and present, you might be wired for it. If you feel drained, scattered, and reactive, you're not. And that's your answer. Don't force it. Don't try to become something you're not. Trading is already hard. Don't make it harder. Look for ways to make it easier. Don't act like you're dependent on charts. The market is there every day to give you the money you desire. If you feel weird when you don't take a single trade for a day, please stop. You might need a bit of chart detox. Trading isn't an easy path. I'm not going to sell you dreams here. Trading isn't about finding the hardest style and conquering it. It's about finding the style that fits your brain, the style where you can execute consistently without destroying yourself. For most people, that's not scalping, and that's completely fine. Because aiming to scalp for a lifetime isn't realistic. We can wear down less and make more money. This is possible. Here's what I want you to take away from this. Scalping isn't the pinnacle of trading. It's not the goal. It's just one style among many. And it's a style that requires a specific mental wiring most people don't have. If you can't scalp, you're not a bad trader. You're not missing out. You're just built for something else. Find that something else. Master it. And stop comparing yourself to the scalpers who make it look easy. They're not better than you. They're just different. Their brains handle repetition and rapid feedback differently. Yours handles depth and patience differently. Both are valuable. Both can be profitable. But only if you stop trying to be something you're not. Trade the way your brain works, not the way someone else's does. That's the only path to long-term success. Find a path that suits you and master it. You know yourself best. Instead of poisoning yourself by overtrading, you can develop more reasonable approaches. Personally, after a period of overtrading, I became cold toward trading. I took a break for a while because I had been exposed to trading so much that I didn't want to see charts anymore. And when I came back, I struggled quite a bit. Honestly, overtrading even has such effects, so we should choose sustainable, healthy paths. Thanks for watching.